How's it going, everyone? It's Liam Catterson here with episode 11, season 2 of Luke Cage, which is called The Creator. So, yeah, a lot went down in the last episode, and it was superb stuff, especially the team up between Danny and Luke. That was excellent. All around. Brilliant stuff, and especially Patty Cake, it was an awesome scene, but everything that went down in terms of Danny's presence in the episode was just fun stuff to watch. As well as, you know, seeing Mariah, I guess, back on her throne, but also executing extreme vengeance, I guess, to Bushmaster's people. And it was in brutal fashion. Even Shades showed a level of concern there. And yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see the ramifications of that massacre play out in this episode, because that's not going to be forgotten, especially since this was targeted to Bushmaster. So, but Luke's going to surely crop in there as well, because he's going to find out that Mariah did the, I mean, this is the thing though, all season Luke's been in the middle of this war between the Stokes and the McIvers, in present day terms, I guess, with, you know, Mariah and, you know, Bushmaster clamoring at each other, and Luke has been there, so Luke's going to find out, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that develops. But yes, 2 episodes left after this, and season 2 has been pretty fun stuff, especially the villain front. I do feel Bushmaster has been a bit more of a developed character, and his, you know, reign of terror, I guess, has been really, really well done, as well as his story, of course. But it's just been really fun stuff delving into Bushmaster's character this season. So I do feel like they have, you know, improved over the villain front from Cottonmouth and Diamondback. So it's really good to see that. But, you know, I'm really excited to check this out, because Luke Cage season 2 has been impressive this season. So I'm expecting this to be even more impressive since we're delving into the final bunch of episodes. But yes, it's Luke Cage, episode 11, season 2. Let's go.
I should have let that bitch burn.
Oh.
You were right.
Hey.
It's not your fault.
You're bulletproof, not clairvoyant.
Exactly. Now that's a whole different matter.
Danny and I went to Harlem's Paradise.
Yeah, but you wanted to know this was going to happen.
Should have went upstairs and snapped her neck.
That is not you.
Oh, I was going to say, this is a dark corner Luke is stumbling at.
Half of Quincy's shares of the sold Bushmaster, and continuing profits of Harlem's Paradise.
Just half it. Let's be civil, although it's not going to happen, is it? Unless Doctor Strange.
Hey, wait. We gotta consider what Tomas said. You think any of the other crime families could have done this?
We need answers either way.
Nah,
I can shake the trees easier than you can.
See, it's the thing is, it's more like, especially with everything that's gone down with Mariah and her kingdom, and you should know what Mariah's like.
Was planning on it.
It's you have you have that tendency to look at Mariah. I'm thinking it's interesting that Misty is debating this, but maybe she's thinking with a more straight head, because earlier this season she was... Oh, like she was pinning everything on Mariah.
Ask around about me. If you're lying, it's on. Understand?
I guess the Puerto Ricans, the Italian... Yeah, they're just like, don't kill me!
Espresso?
Business as usual, love it.
Yeah, they give us money, they give us food. Johnny got the injection, but all the other picnic them all die. But Johnny,
but he survived.
What was in the injection?
Oh damn!
No.
So he was the lucky winner, I guess.
After that, them say him special.
And that's where he got the things from. And
Nightshade not give. Nightshade reveal.
Ooh.
Run, Johnny, run!
Oh shit! Is this the Stokes? Trying to get rid of their adversaries, I guess. Especially with... Ah, no. Mama Maple is a bit... I mean, that's water wet for you, ironically speaking, but...
Sorry, babe.
You cold-hearted
Told your
bitch.
mom I wasn't dealing with no goddamn lawyer.
Damn, Bushmaster.
Mabel. I didn't know everything. It's horrible what they did to him.
I guess you can't really blame him, really. Like, for
Same blood run in your veins.
not the same evil. Shit. He's not gonna do it. Oh, this is gonna be one. Oh. Maybe he will. It's having this fighting battle, isn't it? It is that conflict, but you could see that anyways.
To see someone you love suffer, ripped away
Ah,
by someone else's hand.
Reva.
Then you know
I'm
what
thinking
it's
go
like
back
on
to
the
Reva.
other side. The anger and the...
She's not gonna tell him about the fact that Shades almost shot her. Like seconds.
Pineapple plants and mangoes. Everything fresh.
Oh, what the shit?
Sorry, Coconut. When you get to hell, tell Quincy that was the buggy.
Oh, Lord.
Stay with me. I'm not. Don't let him die.
The uncle, oh no. It's a shitty process, isn't it? Lord.
You see? You see? It's strong.
Oh. They just pumped out that bullet.
Johnny was healed and given new life. That bushwoman's nightshade hardened his skin, but he was special long before that.
The
And Nancy
Oh,
knew
wow.
it when him survived the vaccinations that kill all of the
is that
other
the
people
shrapnel?
there. That's
So
why
interesting
it's
how it
so hard to
works.
save him.
Projects, safe spaces for women and kids.
And that doesn't really explain the shitty background that your family has.
Came up to taint it. All of this is your fault.
Sorry, Mariah, but she wasn't exactly the one to...
Sweet Cornell.
That too, but I was thinking the massacre wasn't exactly Mama Maple's
He
fault.
wasn't sweet anymore.
It was actually an influence, wasn't it?
After
You
what
like
you
living
did
your
to
mother's
him.
thing.
Hey, lay off her, Maybelline. She's doing the best she can.
Pete.
We agree about
City! Got it! Got it!
And there we go. This shall be mine.
What
Mwah.
in your life? Huh? Where y'all
It
been?
would have been more comical if someone like Shakes just walked in and was thinking, what? Okay, that's the final straw. Massacre was making me reconsider, and now you've just lost it.
You want she run back to Shimala?
I don't think that's going to be an option.
Let her go.
Holy crap. Doing the noble thing.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
She's starting to, yeah, she, I knew that, like, you knew this was going to fracture between Mariah and Tilda, and here we are. Can I just say, I'm just loving the development of Bushmaster throughout this season.
And I was protecting you.
Dead is dead. Are you a vegan now? You've been a
Wow.
goddamn carnivore the whole time I've known you. A predator. I loved that. Did you
He's
kill
seeing
the
his
bitch or
limits.
what?
I'm done.
Go on!
She could go to the cops, Hernan.
Oh,
If
well.
I go down, you go down. Your ass was right next to
I
me
guess,
the whole
I guess
time
it's that
firing.
I'll go down to hell with you.
To use the...
I just wish I had pulled the trigger on Comanche's snitching black ass. I would have popped him twice in the gut. So he could bleed out slow. Then you could watch.
Go on, Shakes! Go on! I have no other expectations. You mentioned Comanche, your ass is going down. Oh, shit. Bitch, you asked for that. I'm surprised he didn't. Wow.
You're pathetic.
Shades. 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 There you go. Walk out. I hope you're happy you've lost Shades, you've got lost Tilda. Bushmaster's strong again. And all because you're caught.
Well, I ain't here for that.
Then what are you here for?
Just gonna help out. I love this.
Mariah's gone too far this time. She's gotta go.
Shades! High
And I'm gonna
five!
help you do.
I guess I'm the good guy.
Well, you've always been the good guy, but whatever. Gotta put some restraint.
You and me, we're not so different, you know.
I just love how he
Could have
keeps
been
pressing that.
I'm not looking forward to killing you,
I just love that there's that respect there for Bushmaster, but I think the formula for like Netflix shows, they always have to have a villain that has some justification, that has some sugar, because he's walking away from that shit, but they always have villains who do have some understandability. Really good stuff with Luke Cage episode 11 there, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how things now go with, you know, the inevitable fall of Mariah, because I think this episode set up a really, really good point for her fall to start. Like, she's lost Tilda, she's lost Shades, she's been hallucinating, of course, and imagine if someone like Alex, for example, walked in the room and was seeing her, you know, practically, you know, go insane. You know, her hallucinating and all that. But, not just that, but Shades has now handed himself in, and he's going to get Mariah, you know, put down, I guess, at the expense of his, you know, freedom, I guess. But I guess, you know, since he was there, he you know, you can't really excuse that, and he knows that, but, you know, he may as well if it sees the end of Mariah, because she needs to be taken down. And I think everyone, and it's not just Shades, it's, you know, Sugar, I guess, although Sugar, you know, he's a small part in this, but, you know, he was the first one to just drift away from Mariah. He knew shit was going to go down, and he just didn't like it, so yeah. Interesting talk there, like, he needs a king. Imagine if Luke was, like, you know, basically the successor or something, like he was the basically parade against the King of Harlem. That would be very, very interesting, but I don't know. But yeah, it was just really, really great. Thank goodness Shades left though, but you can see why. I mean, in his world, I mean, I know Mariah was bringing up examples like, oh, Candace, yeah, but she, you know, was dirty in my opinion. Like, she was a snitch and all that kind of stuff. In Shade's world, you know, people who turn out to, you know, be a snitch or who are doing, you know, dirty things, I guess, are, you know, I guess okay in his world, of course, because he's, of course, a killer and that. And, you know, Candace, I guess, was, well, apart from the love that he had for Comanche, the love for, like, there was no difference between, I guess, Candace and Comanche. You know, that's why he had to get rid of him. Like, he was snitching, and it was painful for him, of course. As evidenced by him just nearly getting rid of Mariah, but she wasn't worth it. So I was rooting for that. I mean, I think Mariah was asking for that, to be fair, with everything that's gone down with, not just that, but what, you know, what this story is presented in terms of flashbacks, because it's funny how she's always said that I'm better than you, but she's not really. Some could say she might be worse. I don't know. She might be the living embodiment of Mama Maple. Even though she's trying to distance herself away and she thinks all of this, oh, I'm building, districts and all that shit. She might think that's good. But that doesn't really erase the bad that she's done. And, that's, I guess, the massacre was tipping points for Shades to just deviate away from Mariah, because they were innocent people who didn't do anything. Like I said, I know Mariah said, oh, but Candace was okay, but, in his perspective, she did, shoddy stuff, so she had to be taken care of, whereas some of the people, like, there were some people at, Gwen's that, were not really good people for, Shade's perspective, but there were some people who were completely innocent, harmless, and that was pushing, that is pushing it. So, he decides to detach from there and go his separate ways, which I'm glad he did, because, Shades deserves better. Shades, it's funny though, despite the putting on the shades, you could see into his eyes about what he, about that conflict that he has. I mean, Mariah, of course, did sense it, but he does have a lot of conflict, and he does have a bit of a heart in some degree. Look at Kamachi, for example. Like, he was pained by, killing him. I mean, that was all to do with love, of course, but, he's been a bit skeptical of Mariah's movements all season, and now that Mariah's done this, he can't take this anymore. So I do feel that, sense of, I guess a bit of nobility, especially with the fact that he, wasn't afraid to hand himself in a means to bring down Mariah. So, I'm like I said, this season, I think, if anything, Misty and Shades have been my favourite characters with how they stand out and how enjoyable their presence are. So I've really enjoyed that. And Shades, no exception in this episode, especially when he, went for Mariah, especially when she just, decided to piss him off with the Kamachi speak and, take the piss out of the fact that, he and Kamachi had a thing. And, he just launched at her, and, you know what? I don't blame her. I don't blame him. The shit she's pulled, she is beyond monstrous, and I was expecting some kind of violence to go down, because Mariah has done a lot of shit that deserves, her to get pushed down, and plus it would be the fall of the Queen, I guess, but, not literally speaking, because she's still, her hubris still says that she's on top of the mountain despite everything, despite my, calls that, the fall is literally beginning. Not in her eyes though, so I don't blame Shades at all, because, Mariah needs a good kick in the head, but that's not going to do anything, because the spirit, like I said, the spirit of Mama Maple will still live on through her, despite her claims that, oh, I'm better than you. She's not really, so yeah. And that's evidenced through the flashbacks, of course. Like, there was some stuff, of course, that we knew about, like, the 50-50 split. We knew that was not going to go down well, of course, as alluded, but, seeing some of the things fleshed out, like, Mama Maple burning, and seeing how smug she was a real eye-opener, wasn't it? Like, I think, Bushmaster recalled, about how his place burnt down in, episode 7, yeah. And it was literally, he was literally going to do the same thing to Mariah, of course. But it's, there's saying it, and then there's experiencing it. And, experiencing it is even worse when you analyze the characters and their behaviour. And especially with Mama Maple, they're saying, oh, well, sorry, not sorry. So, yeah, it was absolutely horrific. And not just that, but she got, Pete, of course, to shoot Bushmaster. I'm wondering though, like of course, because the repair job was the Nightshade, and since that's in collaboration with, you know, the injection they were all given, which Bushmaster only survived, of course, I'm wondering if IGH have a hand in that in some capacity. Like, surely, you know, they do. I'm thinking, like, in most cases, you know, I guess in most cases the patient for IGH is, I guess, dead in a sense. Or nearing that. It wasn't this time around because he was healthy. This was before he got shot, Bushmaster, when he got injected. But I'm wondering if IGH do have a hand in, you know, the injections and all that, since it's all connected. But yeah, it was really, really interesting delving into Bushmaster's past, and, you know, there is that point where he was a honest, you know, down to earth, well, I guess, but he was not the person lobbing off heads when he was a child. He was just innocent, and he was just there. And then, of course, all of that traumatized him, and in a sense, you don't blame him for, you know, unleashing this anger. Okay, lobbing off heads, of course, is a bit extreme, and, you know, you see the villain, but that's the thing, though. You know, villains have their own interesting look at Kingpin, for example. I mean, the shit it doesn't, like, these stories don't exactly mean, oh, well, they're no longer villainous because this happened and all that. They're still villainous with their actions, of course, but you understand how, you know, messed up their childhood has been. It's a great formula for, you know, Netflix. Like, they always develop these villains to have some interesting backstory. Kingpin had it. Alyssa, of course. I mean, I still, you know, I'm a bit skeptical about if you can consider her the villain. She was, you know, the, person to take down, of course, but, you know, they did it in such an interesting way, but, you know, they had all of the, like, they do these stories really, really well where you do have some sympathy with the characters, and this you certainly did, especially, you know, after the massacre. I feel like the massacre was a really, really nice turning point in terms of who is the bigger villain. Mariah certainly is. Like, even Shade said, she didn't even feel remorse. Like, she didn't want to miss a moment of seeing, the uncle burn. Cause she didn't want to, miss the moment. And then there's some level of sympathy, of course, where, you know, there is that bit of humanity in Bushmaster. Of course, like I said, the head shit, everything, not really good. But you do feel a sense of remorse, and you can understand his anger as well. Because, you know, he's gotten, like, especially with the Stokes, you saw how villainous the Stokes are in this story compared to the McIvers. Like, the McIvers, I feel, are the innocent victims. Like, they didn't really do any shady shit in this episode, whereas you saw Mama Maple, you know, have a cold reaction to the house burning. Uncle Pete shot, you know, Bushmaster. Like, I'm wondering if, you know, Mama Maple said, okay, keep him alive so he can, you know, live out the trauma and be broken by this or something like that. It's the cold sadistic thing to do, isn't it? And then shoot him when I say so. Yeah, and like I said, you can understand that anger. Like, the McIvers are really innocent in this. Like, of course there is that little bit of squabble with the, you know, 50-50 split, but of course there's bound to be that, of course. But you know, you can't compare that to burning down, trying to kill off a family, or trying to kill a defenseless boy, who meant no harm anyway. So, yeah, it really showed how messed up the Stokes, like, the Stokes have always been messed up, but it showed how sick they are, and how they deserve everything bad that they get, I guess, because they have no heart. They are remorseless. Like, they are monsters, literally. They are literally monsters. But like I said, we knew how, you know, damning they were in, like, season 1 and Mariah's actions, but, you know, with Mariah saying, I'm better than you, it just puts you to think, you're not. You're really not. Some might say you're worse. So, Yeah, but stepping away from that, it was really, really great to see. I'm wondering why, you know, Ingrid didn't mention about Shades, you know, visiting her earlier on. But it was really, really great to see Luke, you know, look after Ingrid, of course, and be there. I understand Ingrid's emotions of not telling the police everything, though, but, you know, it would help, of course, against Mariah, but death does make you, you know, since this is recent and she's lost a loved one, wasn't it her husband? Yeah. So, she's lost a loved one. It's bound to, you know, not make you think straight, or, you know, you just can't go through with this, especially reliving the trauma even recently, but, you know, Luke trying to do the right thing. I loved that discussion at the end, by the way, with Bushmaster and Luke, of course. I love that respect that he has, and it's really, really nice to see. Of course, this, you know, what Luke sees in Bushmaster's, you know, actions is a bit wrong, of course. But it was just a nice little heart-to-heart to kind of, in my opinion, to kind of solidify that there is some that you do feel for Bushmaster, and there is some goodness, because you wouldn't get that scene, I guess, with Mariah if I guess the tables would, like, if this was Tilda, but, you know, Mariah still, you know, held what she did, like her sick actions, so, if it was Tilda's body in the morgue. So yeah, it was just really, really great to see this episode, you know, pan out and everything. It was just really great to see Shades as well. Like I said earlier on, I just commended that. But, yeah, it was just really, really great overall, especially delving into the backstory of Bushmaster, as well as, you know, some of the parallel shots, of course, like when he got shot and, you know, he was being fixed up with the nightshade. How that ran in conjunction with how Tilda was operating on him. And I just really love how Tilda, you know, well, not just the fact that, you know, Tilda saw, you know, the horrors of the Stokes, of course, but, you know, how Bushmaster was like, let her go, like, she's helping, and he sees that difference. He doesn't see a Stokes. He doesn't see, you know, the same, you know, like, they might be related by blood, but he doesn't see that same, you know, evil that he sees in Mariah. So I really, really loved that. But yeah, it was just a really, really fantastic episode, you know, detailing some emotion behind Bushmaster and, you know, empathizing with him a bit. But it was a really, really fantastic episode, and it'll be very, very interesting to see how the next two episodes do proceed. But I will see you guys next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. You can check my videos on the right if you want to check out more of my content. You can also subscribe to my Media Pizza channel if you want to. Hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Hope you guys take care, and I will see you guys next time. Toodles!